peaceful people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
Propagandist and corporate critical beliefs of this minister and the prophet.
Give us access to our money
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the country. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Good morning and welcome to Open Air on Atlantic Television Network. Open Air is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impacts to the society. Today on Open Air, we'll look at Rivers crisis. PDP lawyers clash over case against pro-Wike lawmakers. And still on Rivers State, APC holds elective congresses. And then on to Edo State, Obaseki's political associates gets injunction against arrest. On judiciary, NJC suspends Rivers judge, others over judicial misconduct. Still on judiciary, NJC dismisses $1 million gift allegations against Justice Lefo. We are open for advert placements, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away.
From the lands across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business,
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I call for immediate release of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is a regular on our show and a political analyst as well, Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu. Good morning, Ugochukwu, and welcome.
Good morning, Laurentia. Good morning for the surprise package you gave me this morning. Having stayed away a long time, seated with my brother Zoe, and today I am so pleased to be with him. And on a quick note, the Ondo Decides is still underway. We are waiting the results. I'm also using ATM to, call on the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, because I don't know if the media or the journalist is still the fourth realm of the state, because right in front of they have the street leading into ATM, and also we have AIT there and we have Wish FM.
Interestingly, when you say the ATM gate walkway, I don't know what you mean by that, because I know that the police is stationed along ATM Woba Road, and probably directly open
the road adjoining to us.
But not our walkway.
Yes.
That can't be possible.
Yes.
That is not possible. And also joining me on the show today is no other person but the person Ugochukwu first of all introduced by himself as the surprise package, and that is Zoe Solomon Tamnotoye. Zoe is a lecturer and development expert, and he's also the national president, Rivers Emancipation Movement. Good morning, Zoe, and welcome.
Thank you, Choma.
It's
Thank
actually a pleasure
It is
to have
actually.
you after a very long time.
It's a homecoming, and I'm really feeling happy. I enjoyed and want to thank Ugochukwu for the warm welcome this morning. Thank you very much.
That's a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah, very it is.
And on to the story. Mild drama played out before the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal on Thursday as two senior lawyers locked horns over the case that is seeking to sack the 27 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly that are loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Trouble ensued after a special panel the appellate court constituted to hear all the matters relating to the political crisis in Rivers State called up the appeals for hearing. The appellate court had scheduled a total of 11 appeals involving different parties in the state for hearing. Among the cases listed for hearing was an appeal which was filed by the People's Democratic Party. However, when the matter was called up, two lawyers, Mr. B.F. Fulronshaw and Mr. J.Y. Musa, separately announced their appearances for the PDP. While Musa SAN told the appellate court that he was mandated by the party to withdraw the appeal, Fulronshaw told the court that no such directive came from the party. Following the controversy, the three-man special panel, led by Justice Onyekachi Otisi, acknowledged that it got a letter from the PDP indicating that it did not authorize the appeal. The panel added that the PDP, in its letter to the court, which was signed by its acting national chairman and secretary, applied to discontinue the case. Consequently, he queried the two lawyers about how they were briefed to appear in the matter. Whereas Musa SAN maintained that he was briefed by the Alhaji Umar Damagum-led executives, Foloronsho said he was duly assigned the case by the national legal advisor of the party, whom he said has the authority to handle all legal matters involving the party. Both lawyers claimed that they got hearing notices to appear for their appeals. In view of the development, the appellate court's panel ordered the two lawyers to go back to the PDP and sort out the issue. The issue of which the counsel that has been briefed should be clarified by the 29th respondent and the court notified. The court continues to say this is not an issue this court can delve into at this time. Justice Otisi held as she adjourned some of the appeals to January 23, 2024. Let me start with you, Ugochukwu. What do you make of this drama that played out in the appeal court?
First of all, I would like a clarification on the case that is being appealed. I don't really know the case because PDP have a lot of cases here and there. So if you wouldn't mind, I want
the case that was seeking to sack the 27 lawmakers of the River State House of Assembly.
Yeah. So we have gone through this particular era before. I think in the last it was in either August or September. We had two representations when the national chairman with the national secretary and also you could see the interest of the national publicity secretary of PDP, Ologunagban, and the legal advisor national of the PDP, their interest and the alliances, which when this case came up, we clearly come to the know that PDP national is being factionalized, because those people in the camp of the National Publicity Secretary and the National Legal Advisor are those who are backing who have forces backing them from the camp of the PDP Governors Forum Chairman in the person of Bala Mohammed. And in another breath, you have those who are aligning with the acting chairman, Damagun, and Anyanwu, who is the Secretary National of the PDP, who has been accused of being the lieutenants of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. And those who are in the camp of Bala Mohammed are those who are sympathetic to the governor of River State, Similar Fubara's camp. Those who are, who are bent on going ahead with the purported defection of the 27 lawmakers in River State, while in another leg you have the Damagun camp and the National Secretary of PDP camp, Anyanwu, and also those who are also sympathetic to Nyesom Wike, who is also in the driving seat or the political godfather of those who are in the Martin Samehule camp. So we had this issue before now, and it's reoccurring. I just see it as a distraction. They are buying time, because if you look at the cases we have had, the cases that have turned up from the law courts, you will understand that this particular Foloronsho and those people that are being sent by the legal advisor are inimical to the healing of what is going on in PDP. They are inimical to the progress of PDP national. They are also inimical to the administration of Governor Similar Fubara, whom they are claiming to be sympathetic to. Because if you go through the courts, the judgments of the courts, the one by Justice Lefu, the one by Justice Motosho, and the appeal court, let us even leave the lower courts. The appeal court has also adjudicated on two cases bordering on the one of defection and who is the authentic Speaker of the Rivers State House Assembly by affirming the judgment of Omotosho delivered on 22nd of January 2024. Then another case that was clearly stated by the appeal court is also the case involving the rightful Speaker of the Rivers State House Assembly. So going by that, PDP, who has just come out of a National Executive Council after a whole lot of back and forth, which we termed it a Mekoma meeting, and which I sat here and told you that Damagu is going nowhere, that meeting will not, be the end of Damagu, that if they do it, PDP might be shooting themselves on the foot. So if PDP, as a political party, is selling themselves the truth, and with the outcome of that NEC meeting, I don't see any reason why there should be two representations from the national. That means it is showing us that PDP just came out to play to the gallery. The chairman PDP Governors Forum, which is Bala Mohammed, just played to the camera. All the things he said after the visit of Damagu to him, and all the things he said, and all the purported peace that he said that PDP is not factionalized. Remember that there was someone coming from the North Central who emerged as the PDP North Central vice chairman, who declared himself as the chairman of PDP National. So if by the words of Bala Mohammed that PDP is one family and all those infractions and distractions then was a thing of the past. So what are we seeing now is what is on ground, given the drama that played out in the court and what we had last month from the PDP stakeholders. They are nothing to write home about. So PDP is still immersed in a very turbulent waters, which is not healthy for PDP, which is not healthy for an opposition party like PDP, which is not healthy for a big and mega party as PDP to reposition herself for 2027. So PDP are not telling themselves the truth, and this particular my drama that played out of two representation, the chairman of the party, when this issue came up, came out clearly to say that despite the fact that the legal advisor state can have a say in a case concerning a political party, but according to the PDP constitution, the national had to send a representation, and there's also the national chairman that has the powers to ask the the legal advisor to withdraw a case on behalf of the party. The legal advisor is not the image maker of the party. He's not the herdsman of the political party. Right. So he has no powers to go and interfere in an ongoing political process, which the party is still fighting the battle of their lives in trying to reposition itself in Rivers State.
One would say that he is the national legal advisor, and by his position has the right to officially pretend or officially handle legal matters pertaining to the party.
That is laughable.
All right.
It's laughable, Laurentia, in the sense that President President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Can the Minister of Justice go and withdraw a case on behalf of the Nigerian state without directive from Mr. President? So we look at the people that were arrested during the End Bad Governance protest. The Attorney General knows what is right to do. Look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu. Look at the discontinuation of Igboho's case and all those people. It is from the advisory gotten from Mr. President, from his legal team, that will let him look at he weighs the cons and pros of whatever matter and decides to act on it.
All right.
So in this case, the arrowhead in PDP is Damagu, whether you like it or not. Okay. So it is only lawful, and it is only moral, and it is only the process of natural law that you listen to your superior. So if Damagu is dancing to the left and the national advisor is dancing to the south, it shows you clearly that the house is divided.
Right, very well. Zoe, what do you make of this story?
Well, I would like to also get a clarification. This conflict that came up, was it in a regular court or the panel set up?
The appeal court. Yes, the appeal court president set up a 3-man special panel to consolidate all the cases in Rivers State, all the appeal cases in Rivers State, and give judgment over them. So now they have consolidated 11 cases, and one of the cases where this issue now happened, this drama happened, was a case of the case against the 27 lawmakers.
Well, let me quickly add to what my colleague here said. He was talking about the PDP as an opposition party. I disagree to that, because a party that is an opposition to itself cannot be an opposition to the government. So that's just the truth.
That's where the opposition themselves.
Yes, I haven't said that. You know, this situation brings to mind the song by the Idris Abdul Karim, when he said Nigeria jaga jaga, everything scatter scatter. This is what you get in a country like this. It's what is transpiring in PDP is just the fact that there is no rule of law. People are no longer being governed, or institutions are no longer being governed by laws, because, see, systems are run by laws. And when once, people follow, the law, there will be no issue for conflict. It's when people go out of the law to pursue their personal interests, which is what is playing out in the PDP crisis, that you have conflict like this. And for me, I will go beyond. I'll look at it from another perspective from what my colleague have done. And I will go beyond just the conflict that came up as a result of legal representation. It goes beyond that. My own is to probe into the judiciary. Now, what has led to setting up a panel? Because if from the initial ab initio, these matters that came up with regards to Rivers State and PDP are mostly constitutional matters. And if the judges who are involved in these matters have given judgments according to the laws, we would not be where we are today. As far as I'm concerned, the setting up of a panel to review judgment and cases that are coming from PDP and Rivers State in particular is a failure of the judiciary. That is how I looked at it. Because in the first place, if they have done the needful, we will not need. You can imagine the Supreme Court or any other court begin to get review of every judgment that has been given in the past. We will make progress in the society. And that's why I'm calling on the Nigerian judiciary to actually take a clue from what is happening in America. Is a very good example for the Nigerian judiciary to watch. You see that the same, maybe different circumstances, but in every country, as particularly America now, there are political crises, where the ruling party and the opposition party are having issues, and they have been going to court. But you can see the American judiciary distance itself from every political influence. Now, you remember when former President Donald Trump, now going to be the 47th president, when he went to court in the 2020 election, the judiciary distanced and they told him, look, we don't have evidence to your claims and all this. They sent him away. Now, wind back to currently, especially from last year, the ruling party, Biden-led Democrat government, was taking Trump to court on different issues, including his private life, everything. You can see the judgment that even when the lower courts were influenced by the government to take decisions against the opposition, when the matters go to the appeal court, to the Supreme Court, they gave judgment according to the law. Most of those cases, they dismiss them. That is a country where laws are functional, where institutions are functional. So when those judgments are given, for example, the issue of immunity, for more than 200 years, presidents of America have been enjoying immunity. Only for this Biden government to come, because Donald Trump was involved, they said there is no immunity for him. The Supreme Court threw away that matter, that it doesn't exist. For you to stop immunity of President Trump, you must go back to the House of the Congress and amend the law. If he can't do that, immunity stand. And they throw away every case they brought against Donald Trump as far as immunity is concerned. When that judgment was given, Biden have no option. They accepted it because the judiciary has positioned himself not to be influenced or take side in any of the political divide. Bringing back to Nigeria, this is not the case in Nigeria, and that is why we are having the problem where after judgments are given, they are also setting up panels to review such judgment. So when situations are like this, it is not just the PDP and their legal representative. It's the entire system that has gotten corrupt. It's the entire system that has gotten confused for pursuing personal interests as against the interests of the society using the rule of law. That's my take on this matter.
Well, you used you cited the example when you were making a case with your argument with the United States of America, and interestingly, when you were talking about immunity, the case of immunity against Donald Trump, interestingly, you also mentioned that matter was appealed up to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So there was an appeal.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court upturned it. What is the job of the appeal court? Is it not to look into matters concerning the judgments of the lower courts? And when you're not satisfied with the judgment of appeal court, you go to Supreme Court. So it is the instance you gave with respect to America is exactly what is playing out in Nigeria, where a lower court gave judgment, and it was that litigations. So many litigations, both from people that have the locus and people that do not even have locus to be part of a matter. Now, because of these litigations, the appeal court, a lot of judgments have been given by the lower court and is being appealed. And some right now has even been appealed up to Supreme Court. Now, the appeal court president, looking at the litigations, the several litigations from Rivers State, before it, now decided to
compress it,
to create a special panel of the appeal court. It's not a tribunal, right? It is still the appeal court sitting. However, a 3-man special panel to consolidate all these cases, marry them together, and give a judgment on them. Do you understand?
Okay.
So this is the appeal court that form a panel to superintend over all these matters and give a judgment in order not to waste the time of the court. So, Zoe, what is the special thing now that is different that the appeal court, or that is, what would I say, with the instance you gave in the United States, that their judiciary is strong? However, the lower court, you also said, when you were, in fact, let me even pick your word.
Yes.
When you were saying their judiciary is strong and their system is not corrupt, you also indicted yourself by saying that they gave a judgment in the case of immunity. They gave a judgment, the lower court gave a judgment that's already biased, and you said that they gave a judgment that was influenced by the government of the day, and it was appealed up to the Supreme Court, or the highest court in the United States, that upturned that judgment. So, is the judiciary in the United States, according to the analysis you've given to us, is the judiciary in the United States without stain?
No, not at all. No country is an isolation. So when it comes to the issue of,
then are they now
when it comes to the, see, let's put these things, let's put this thing in perspective. When you're talking about, now remember, the panel that was set up. Now, in judicial processes, we have what we call alternative resolution, okay, alternative conflict resolution. That is not the case here. If that is the case, we won't understand. And that is why I said the setting up of this panel is a failure of the system and is an indictment on the judiciary. Because if it is the appeal court president or judge, whatever, have looked at it and said, look, there can't be an let's look at this thing. There are political issues majorly. So let's look at it. Let's set up an alternative dispute resolution committee to look at these matters more politically. That's a different thing. Out of court settlement. That's a different thing. That's the way I was looking at it. I'm coming. That was even the way I was looking at it. Thank you very much. Arbitration, yes. That is quite a different. That is what we will understand. Yes. But in a situation, look, when matters have come to the court, the first thing that the court will look at is jurisdiction. It doesn't matter the number, the proliferation of cases. It doesn't matter. That is why the courts are there. And that's why we have different levels of courts. And the first thing to do when matters come up is jurisdiction, which I think the court itself or the judges have failed in looking at the jurisdiction. And this can be ascribed to the personal interest or political influence that have come on the judges, you know, because if they have taken care of the issue of jurisdiction, then the next thing is for competent court of jurisdiction to listen to this matter. Now, because this has failed, there is failure in this place. That is why we are having judgment from court A and another judgment from court B in the same case. So that is where I am coming in to say that it is a failure of the system that has led us to where we are today. Ordinarily, there will be no need if the courts have given judgment. There will be no need for review because the judgment will stand, and that is the law.
All right, Zoe, this is much more. I would like to say now you have put it in perspective.
Thank you.
Now you have put it in perspective. Even though I still have some questions, but let me get to Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi, what do you have? Well, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, you know, I just looked at the judgments that we have gotten and what led to the mild drama that played. I was even thinking in my mind that this is forming a kind of out of court settlement, because once it comes to litigations and turning out judgments from the temple of justices, it is not something to be biased or sentimental about. But I'm seeing a kind of someone who is afraid of the judgments that is being turned out. as from what we know all through these litigations, who has been on the driver's seat, which people are always on appeal, which people, the people that are running for appeal, means that there is potency in the judgments that have been turned out from the lower courts. And remember, this issue of jurisdiction is what had made the government of Rivers State, you know, lose some of their cases. Because if you also go to what played out in NJC and other, which we'll come to, I will now, you know, make some clarifications about it. If the issue of, those lawyers who are contracted by different camps tell them the truth about which court has the jurisdiction to hear their matters, in order not to extort them for monetary gain, they will tell them, Oga, this particular case will not fly in this particular cause. I will not have a problem with Rivers State Board of Internal Revenue. I will go to the Federal High Court. That's judicial suicidal, because in the first case, I should go to the State High Court. If I have problem with Federal Board of Internal Revenue, I should go to the Federal High Court. Common sense does that. You don't need to be a lawyer. So in this case that they are playing to the gallery, I'm now asking a question. Who is afraid of this particular judgments that has been duly delivered from the lower courts and the appeal court, even the appeal court you're talking about now, that are setting up this particular panel, has also adjudicated in some cases that came from Rivers State, from the lower courts, especially the judgment of Justice Joseph Omotosho has been duly, you know, trashed, and the judgment given by the appeal court. And that is where you saw the governor of Rivers State running helter-skelter, because the justices of the appeal court affirmed all that Omotosho said. And that is the authenticity of where we are standing, that Martin Samehule is the authentic speaker of Rivers State House Assembly giving that particular judgment. And that is where we are standing and say that the governor has to go and present the 2024 appropriation bill. If that has not been a case done and dusted with, we will not be going to the Supreme Court to appeal it. So in this particular instance, who is afraid? And what is the motion behind setting up this kangaroo, this kangaroo, what do you call it, panel? And what is the panel final outcome, will it be binding on the two sides?
Let me come in
will
here.
Will it be binding on the two sides? That's why I'm confused.
Let me come here. I wish we would just stay within the confines of this topic.
No,
but you have raised a lot of issues, and fundamentally you have asked a very fundamental question, that who is afraid? I can answer that question. As of today, both camps are afraid. And that is why you are seeing them taking the backyard behind front steps everywhere. Both sides have already committed blunders, okay, in whichever way you look at it, whether the governor's camp or the minister's camp. Again, I want to say that nothing will surprise me that will come out from this panel that they have set up, because the judges themselves have messed up themselves as far as this River State crisis is concerned. They have taken from their judgments, okay, they have taken, it seems there is a perception, public opinion, that the judges are taking side based on the judgment they are given. So these people cannot actually come up with a resolution that will, be generally accepted, that will change the perception of the public. If they come up with any judgment in favor of the minister's camp, the other people will look at it as bias. If they come up with judgment that will favor the governor, the other camp will look at it as bias. So going forward, these matters are actually political matters, and so far legal matters also, but so far the legal aspect, the judiciary have not lived up to expectation. So there are lack of faith, okay, in the judiciary. So what I would advise, unfortunately, we've gone that part before. It didn't work, where the president intervened at a point and it didn't work. But going forward, if this problem we have to solve, they have to come together and look at it from a political perspective, and that call for the major actors, the gladiators, to sit down and look at areas they have strengths, areas they have weaknesses, and then resolve. But I have to correct an impression that you said that from the plethora of judgment that have come up, that the 27 members of the River State, the Martins Amewule led members of River State Assembly are the legal members of. I take exception to that. I'm coming. I take exception to that, because no court of law as of today have given categorically made statement that the substantive matter of whether the 27 members of the River State House of Assembly are still members of the River State House of Assembly, or the what do you call him now, the former speaker, Heide Hedison, led House of Assembly as speaker, is a substantive one at that material time. These are the substantive matter. Every other matters that the judges are giving judgment with regards to budget, with regard to the governors being dictatorial, are just periphery. They have not attended to the matter, and I think that is a matter that the governor needs to appeal to the Supreme Court. And until the Supreme Court give judgment of the substantive issue of who is legally Speaker of the House of Assembly, as of the material time the budget was submitted, and considering the activities of the Martins Amewula led members, are they still members of the River State House of Assembly? That is the only way this matter will be resolved legally. Otherwise, they should go political.
I want to chip in something, Laurentia. You know that I asked Zoe the defection and the presentation of the budget 2024, purported presentation of the budget. Which one came first? So if you're talking about all the legal matters, all the case filed by Martin Samuel and his brothers to Justice Omotosho's Federal High Court, and the purported defection and all that, and the presentation, which is the meat of the matter in all this, in the judgment of Omotosho, and being affirmed by the appeal court, which one came first?
So, let's look. Died. God forbid, that is not their portion, and they died. Are you telling me that the River State House of Assembly will not function because of these people died? These are the issues you need to.
Because
they will not function. The Rivers State House of Assembly will not function. These are the issues we need to look at. But they are not dead. They are alive. So they need to pursue their legal stand in the Rivers State House of Assembly.
It's very important that when we are addressing issues like this, we address it from the angle of what the law provides. Now, you asked a very important question, and that question is, if something happened, a very unfortunate event, God forbid, and there are no lawmakers, or only 3 or 4 lawmakers are left, won't Rivers State be governed? The law provides that the governor should write to National Assembly to legislate for Rivers State or for that state pending an election.
But elections are done.
So the law has provided for that. Okay? The law has provided for that. But then, let's come to some of the things you talked about when you spoke about the judgment of Omotosho, and you also said there was no clear judgment by the court affirming the
legitimacy or otherwise of the members of the House of Assembly.
All right, very well. Now, in the first instance, when Justice Omotosho was giving his judgment, he clearly stated it was stated in black and white that Martin Samegulu remains the valid Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. It was also clearly stated that the 27 lawmakers remain the valid lawmakers, right? In fact, that House of Assembly led by Martin Samegulu included the suspended ones, right? They are all as one house. Now, that is the judgment of, part of the judgment of Justice Omotosho, and he also told the governor to represent the budget to Martin Samegulu. I do not think that the judge would tell the governor to represent a budget to what the judge or the law would consider illegal. That's on one hand. Now, moving ahead, let us look at the different judgments that had come in. You recall that Justice Wale declared the seats of Martin Samegulu vacant while declaring Okojumbo as the legitimate Speaker of the House, and that judgment was appealed. Even that it was an ex parte order first before a judgment, and that was appealed by Martin Samegulu. And the appeal court, the 3-man appeal court, when presiding over that judgment of Justice Wale, threw out that judgment. They said in the first instance that Justice Wale of the State High Court did not have the jurisdiction to even entertain the matter. And they went ahead to say that in the speakership of Martin Samegulu, it is not in contention. And they went ahead to nullify every action taken by Okojumbo as the Speaker of the House of Assembly. And also every other law, every other decision that Justice and judgment that Justice Wale made with regards to that matter was annulled by the appeal court. Now, you also recall that there was another appeal with regards to the presentation of the budget. And that's the second appeal. And the appeal court judges, a 3-man appeal court judge, set of panel of judges, when they were giving the judgment, they upheld every single thing that Justice Omotosho had ruled. Recall that, like I said, I've told you what Justice Omotosho ruled, and that particular judgment was appealed. And the appeal court upheld the judgment of Justice Omotosho and further ordered the governor to present the budget to Martin Samegulu. So when you say there is no clear judgment and you say there is no clear decision of the court, I'm wondering how else how clearer you want it to be.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned something. You said that the judge would not have asked the governor to represent the budget if it would cause an illegal or unconstitutional situation, isn't it? It is the same way.
That's not what I said.
No, okay, can you put
let
it?
Me say exactly what I said.
Okay.
I said, I doubt if the judge would have told the governor to present a budget to an illegal house.
Okay.
Because in that judgment, Justice Omotosho cancelled the presentation of the budget to ADC.
It's okay. It's the same manner. This other judge at the lower court, the Wale, yes, must also have his legal basis, because he cannot just give judgments discretionally with his own. It has to be with legal basis, and that is why probably the governor is taking an exception to this judgment, and he has appealed to the Supreme Court. And that is why I said, even this, what they call this panel, as far as I'm concerned, looking at the situation, how the judiciary have handled these cases, for me, the governor should not even fall to this panel. I'm coming.
Isn't your position interesting, Zoe?
I'm coming. Let me make my point. Okay.
You have said earlier, so that you don't move away from what we are discussing.
Okay.
You have said earlier in your first statement that you blame the judiciary mostly for a lot of things. You talked about judicial rascality, and you said the judges had to blame over Rivers State political crisis.
I said
and
so.
You went ahead to say that judges that do not have jurisdiction, we are entertaining matters and ruling in matters they don't have jurisdiction over. And now, Zoe, the same you know, in few minutes later, you are now justifying a judge, you know, entertaining a matter that he doesn't have jurisdiction to entertain. Not have jurisdiction to entertain matters pertaining. In fact, let me even simplify. That state high courts do not have jurisdiction to entertain matters pertaining to the state legislature, the governor of a state, federal agencies as well. Right. And in this, if I please don't interject. And in this instance, you know, this is a clear case of a judge entertaining matters that from constitutional provision, he does not have the right to entertain. And the court threw out that judgment based on jurisdiction. And you're here defending it.
No. See, don't take me out of context.
No, I
am not defending or justifying. What the statement I made was a general statement on both sides.
No, please make statement
on judgments. That's what I'm saying. That the statement I made that the judiciary has failed or judges have not lived up to expectation is on both sides, not just Justice Wale or Justice Amoti to fail. But the point I'm making. No, I'm not justifying. The point I'm making now is that, number one, the governor should not fall to this panel, because this is what they do. Once they see that things are not working, they create one situation that the governor will fall in. As far as I'm concerned, two ways to resolve the matters in Rivers State. Number one, just as the governor has gone to the Supreme Court, it should allow the Supreme Court to make the final decisions, and which, in my own understanding, the major case is who are the lawful members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. But at that material time, whether the, what do you call it, Edison, or whether the Martins Amewule, these matters should be decided at the Supreme Court. And this is why the governor take exception to all these appeal court judgment, and that's why there is room to go to the Supreme Court. So let the matters be, because for me, the governor shouldn't worry himself, because it's not going to be something that will affect him alone. It's something that is going to affect our judiciary, because any judgment at this point in time that the Supreme Court will come up with is going to have far-reaching implications to our democracy, because it's going to serve as precedent. So he shouldn't bother himself. Just like the way the Supreme Court gave us judgment on the issue of the 2023 election. That is my own opinion. So I'm not justifying any judges. As far as I'm concerned, the judiciary has blundered, and so far they don't, with exception to the Supreme Court, and so far they don't have the legal and moral courage to do what is right. Even if they come up with something, the public will still have a perception to think that they are wrong if they give judgment to any party in this case.
All right. When you say if they give judgment to any party in this case, you know, the judiciary cannot be tied, you know, and I can understand the public perception, you know, because now there are two camps in Rivers State. A camp is loyal to the governor, and the other camp is loyal to the FCT minister. And if, let me just use, how do I explain this now? Let me just use the media, for example. There are media houses that, or let's say journalists that, to be fair.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a judgment.
If it does not
favor, that does not mean there will be no judgment.
If it does not favor, the appellant will say it was judicial rascality.
Yes.
If it favors the appellant, the respondents would say it's judicial rascality. What is the way forward? Now, Zoe has been saying, okay, should the judiciary now say matters pertaining to River State we cannot entertain?
No, which is
the
not
truth
possible.
of the matter is that the law has made provisions for everything that is going on in River State, and if people had followed the law, probably would not be in this.
Thank you very much.
That's on one hand.
Yes.
Hold on. That's calling for political solution. How do you see this happening?
See,
you also said elder statesmen in River State. Let's come to PANDEF. The presidential pact failed, by the way. Now, PANDEF has been calling for both factions to sheath their swords and come to a table, you know, for peace to reign. However, the leader of PANDEF is by Edwin Clark, who has been very vociferous, very, very vocal, you know, and clear where Edwin Clark's loyalty lies. And few days after PANDEF came out to make open the call for reconciliation, by Edwin Clark still went ahead to call on the IGP to begin investigation on a faction that he has invited. Or would I say, no, use the language you use.
But when you see, wait, let me tell you something.
Yes,
while I am not, I did not approve of the governor's emotional outburst in that particular event. I understand the psychological situation with which that outpouring has come out. Imagine a woman, let's just take example, a poor woman who goes to the market and gets some things, you know, tomato and all the rest, to prepare something to sell, to feed her family. Only for her to finish preparation and come to the junction, car just hit her, and then everything spoiled. Imagine the emotional expression of.
They don't apply.
Wait, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Don't use the appropriate allegory. This one you're using.
This analogy doesn't apply. Okay, I'm only the point I want to make is because he would have come to terms with his explanation, but rather than doing that, he just blanketly claim or align himself to say that the Martins Amewule fashion is the authentic members of the River State House of Assembly. I'm coming. That's why it was in that place, because there's something philosophy I believe in. I like knowing or finding out what is not said from what is said. So from what OCJ Okosha said, I find out that there is much more that in his person as a legal luminary could not give any explanation to his statement he made. It tells a lot. However, you said, what is the way forward?
Go through it. I think it should enlighten you even more when it comes to the lack of emotions, when it comes to the law. And if you have gone through that, then I'll be surprised that you're saying this. But moving forward, the appeal court has gone ahead to affirm the judgment of the lower court. And you expect Ochidio Okocha to take a different position from what the law, in this instance, according to the interpretation of the appeal court, is saying, considering the fact that his position can even start this crisis afresh. He only re-echoed what the appeal court has said. Do you understand? Would you expect a seasoned lawyer or a man of that repute? I'm not making a case for him, but I'm trying to make it make sense to me, to come out and you are advocating for political solution. And I am x-raying the possibility of PANDEF to bring this to reality. Considering the position of the national president of PANDEF, it's simple.
I don't have problem with that. Just the same way, I am also looking at it from the point of, like you said, you're not making a case for OCJ Okesha. I am not making a case against him, but I'm also bringing him in as an elder statesman too.
There are so many
on the other hand,
you can actually bring.
But if I choose OCJ Okesha, there's nothing wrong about it. But my point is that in as much as he did not keep quiet, okay, on the fact that judgment has been given. As much as he spoke and supported the judge, which is very right from his experience and as a legal luminary, what I'm saying
would be his son. But he was insulted by a man who had the power to insult him and go unscathed. So let's not sweep all these things into the carpet, because as leaders we are responsible for the things we do. That was why I asked you, is the constitution emotional? Is leadership even emotional in the first instance? Because I mean, as a leader, you are expected. You are held to a high expectation and a high standard. And people will not excuse certain emotional outbursts. That is not acceptable. Hold on, that is not acceptable to social etiquette and respect to humankind, regardless of how you want to say it or how you want to present it. So when you say he was silent, yes, he has been silent, but he only spoke up after he was insulted by the governor. Now, I'm
coming. I want to try to put.
Hold on.
Laurentia, you have known me as someone who don't bring in sentiment or bias or morality into politics. Because if our politicians are morally upright, they will not be sharing our patrimony and allowing us to wallow in abject poverty. So whenever there is I look at the lines and the tenets of the law. And if you look at it critically, if this crisis in Rivers State, it has nothing to do with the law, they won't be going to court, and the courts will be entertaining it, because all the judgments that have been turned out are relics of the went sour. People started calling Nyesom Wike all sorts of names, forgetting that it was also the same person who saw this mosaic trace and mosaic nature in a Fubara that brought him out. And when Paidwe Clark was talking, he did not sit back to look at the genesis of it. He just took a position, which was what has lingered this issue till now. Because of all the elders, both elders of the Labour Party, elders of the Rivers State, all forms of elders in Rivers State, who has also inhibited progress in their localities. When a construction or when a project is cited in their community, since the same so-called elders that we go and share them on this ethnic bias in this issue is what has lingered it today. And let me tell you, Laurentia, it is not only now. This issue is going to linger for a long time in Rivers State. You see this ethnic card that Paidwe Clark played, it will inhibit the political progress of Rivers State come 2027 and going forward, because Nyesom Wike looked at it and said, no, we cannot continue to toe this line. Even if Nyesom Wike, by the capacity he bared as he was a governor, brought his wife as a governor to be the governorship candidate of PDP, she will win, and the heavens will not fall. But he looked at it as, jettisoning all those people that were qualified to take this position. And I asked the question, if a Fubara had purchased an interest expression form of PD mother angle, but that is why the law, the symbol of the law, is tied with a blindfold. It's also giving a weighing balance. But as a philosopher and a political watcher, I find it very confusing that Zoe will come and be playing, this kind of sentence.
Don't attack Zoe.
No, I'm not attacking Zoe, but this is one thing. This is one thing.
It's okay.
This is one thing with all some of our analysts who are also political opinion molders, assuming without considering that what he called out OCJ call for Pandef to make an input in this crisis. Yes. Nobody will raise an eyebrow.
You will give me 50 seconds.
No,
I agree. No, you give me 50 seconds. I agree with him. He has concluded that from the beginning.
Don't do that. Don't do that. No. I gave you time. You have.
You have raised issues.
No, you have raised issues. He responded to the issues you've raised, and I gave you. You've had more time.
No. You didn't. You have raised some issues that we need to put in perspective, but it's okay.
You have had more time than Ugochukwu to speak I'm the moderator, and to a large extent, I've been unfair.
It's okay.
You've had more time to speak.
No, that's not true, but it's okay.
You want to respond over an issue that
50 seconds.
No, you want to respond to an issue that you raised and alleged were actually perpetrated by the petitioners who filed the case at the Rivers State High Court after the case at the Federal High Court, Abuja, had been instituted, suggesting forum shopping. Counsel finds that Honorable Justice Lifo neither exhibited personal interest in the matter nor misconducted himself in the procedure, and noted that the complaints contained in the petitions are now subject of appeal by the petitioners. Similarly, Council dismissed the 2 petitions by Abednego Oli Benjamin, Chairman Boot Party, Rivers State Chapter, against Honorable Justice Lifo, as he found the allegation of bribery and other corrupt practices against the subject judge were unsubstantiated. It also finds that there is no proof of misconduct in the ex parte orders made by the subject judge. Council also noted that the ex parte orders are now the subject of appeals. On the petition by Dr. G.M. Gillis West, Clerk, Rivers State House of Assembly, against Honorable Justice Joyce Abdul Malik of the Federal High Court, Abuja Division, the Council finds that the petition was not supported with a verifying affidavit and was therefore discountenanced. In same vein, the Council resolved that legal practitioners who by themselves or in collusion to the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee or the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee for appropriate action. Ifeanyi, let me start with you. What is your reaction to this story?
No, my reaction to this story is this. I am very grateful that this particular case or this particular petitions went to the NJC. It is also the NJC that recommends the elevation of judges and their you know, all these bias and sentiment, because these investigations have been done, and I'm sure they have looked through their cases and their bank accounts and all that, and all right, find out that they are not found wanted.
We'll come back to you. You continue with your train of thoughts, but we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue. Do not go away.
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that critical to lead of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money.
As always said, there are 2 sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that critical to lead of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money.
As always said, there are 2 sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that critical to lead of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money.
As always said, there are 2 sets of people: the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
And will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I call for immediate release of this minister and the deputy
Give us access to our money we put in the account.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
and will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I call for immediate release of this minister and the deputy
Give us access to our money we put in the account.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
and will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I call for immediate release of this minister and the deputy
Give us access to our money we put in the account.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
and will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I call for immediate release of this minister and the deputy
Give us access to our money.
Yes, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We are still discussing the issue of Justice Lifo and the stand of the NJC on Justice Lifo's matter. Ifeanyi Chukwu, before we went on a break, you were still trying to talk about your opinion on the story. You can go ahead.
Yeah, while I am still thankful of this particular issue involving Justice Lifo to get to the NJC, is because it has a sense to, appeal to the conscience of the populace, because majority of Rivers people are being misinformed, are being hoodwinked towards believing that in any judgment that did not favor the state government, that a particular judge who has done due diligence in finding out whether he was induced, and in this particular case, who induced him? Is it Tony Okocha that gave him $1 million, or is it a faction of APC that gave him $1 million and a bulletproof car and allocated him a land in River State? Does Tony Okocha have the capacity of allotting him a land which the governor holds in trust for the people? So most of these political shenanigans, playing to the gallery, we play politics of pull him down, character assassination and all that. And I'm very happy that if these people do not go for an appeal, hence they have refused to come and substantiate their petition and what they claimed in their petition, Justice Lefu can now also try to institute a case against them and call them to come and substantiate their claim and also fight for character assassination and damages, Laurentia.
All right. Zoe, what do you make of this story?
Well, my concern is, on a broader sense, is for us to, the judiciary should actually look inward. They shouldn't wait for politicians to bring petitions. Right now, the judiciary is on a very serious wash as far as public perception is concerned.
Wash.
Yes, the public, there's a kind of...
It means scrutiny.
Yes, scrutiny and distrust from public. That shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. The judiciary should live above board. Now, beyond technicalities, okay, on other areas that is more important in looking at cases when they come before the courts, I don't know, my colleague here keeps saying morality should be, no. I have this issue of, judges being petitioned and lack of public confidence. That's where I am concerned as far as this matter is concerned.
Right. Now, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something. When my colleague is saying that talk about morality, is that we bring religion and sentiment, and once sentiment comes in, you know that that moral standing is being questioned. The morality I have as a person is questioned when bias and sentiment comes in, which each and every one of us has our leaning. But once it goes, I continue to mention the letters of the law and the letters of the Constitution and all those acts therein that have become the pipeline. Any judge that gives that kind of judgment will not see the light of day. Rivers people will resist it, this and that. But at the end of the day, judgment was given and nothing has happened. This is where I say sentiment should not come in. All these bias
to defend
to substantiate
the allegations he has made. You know, in the instance of the clerk of Rivers State, the clerk did not add an affidavit to what he said. Now the question would be, why would a clerk, of Rivers, who understands judicial procedures, not swear an affidavit? Probably because if he cannot substantiate it, he